Hello there, welcome back to the channel, where today we'll be taking a look at Ebirah, Horror of the Deep. This is the 7th movie in the Showa era, and we're nearly halfway through it. This movie has some really great aspects that put it above the other movies, like its soundtrack, and including some battles underwater. However, there's a lot that doesn't go as well, like it once again involving a tribe on an island, and absolutely zero cities being destroyed. But without any further ado, let's get into this. Enjoy! Ebirah, Horror of the Deep starts with someone named Yatta being lost at sea. Despite the remains of his ship being found, his brother, Ryota, believes that he survived, but he doesn't have a ship to search for him. So after finding out about a dance competition with the prize being a yacht, he tries to enter it, but is denied. Two of the dancers offer to show him the ship, but the owner is there when they investigate it, and while he is a bit grumpy, he lets them stay until the morning. When they wake up, the owner of the ship finds out that his rifle is missing, and Ryota reveals that he was the one who took it and broke it, since it was just a toy. The owner demands that they leave the ship, but Ryota has already started sailing to his brother's last location during the night. The dancers are willing to help, but the owner demands that they turn back. Later that day, a radio broadcast comes out, warning people about a thief who stole 1,000,000 yen from a bank before hiding in a boat, which had disappeared that morning. The dancers quickly put two and two together when they notice a briefcase behind the owner of the ship and realize that he's not the owner, but instead the thief. He reluctantly agrees to search for Yatta, since if they hadn't left he would have been caught in the morning. Later, some strange clouds and lightning appear before Ebirah shows up, using his claw to destroy the ship and the briefcase full of money. That morning, the group wash up on an island and find a mysterious sword before a ship appears with a strange yellow liquid spraying out behind it. They follow it to a port and find an entire facility hidden on the island, and that the ship was full of prisoners from another island. Some of them escape, but all of them are caught save for two who go on a boat and row away. However, strange clouds and lightning appear and Ebirah destroys their boat. During this escape, another woman manages to get away deeper into the island due to the distraction. She runs into the group from earlier and they quickly agree to help each other stop the facility's members, known as the Red Bamboo, and to get themselves off of the island. They are found by the Red Bamboo but escape by hiding beneath the edge of a cliff and start to explore a cave, where the woman asks Mothra for help. She explains that her name is Deo and she is from Infant Island, where a mysterious man washed up a few days ago. They also find Godzilla resting in the cave after the last movie, in yet another state of hibernation. That night, they sneak into the facility and find out that the Red Bamboo are making nuclear weapons but are found and chased away. Before they can all escape, Ryota gets his leg tied up in a balloon, which flies up into the sky, and one of the dancers gets caught and put into the same place as the rest of the prisoners. They tell him that they're being forced to make the mysterious yellow liquid out of fruit, as this stops Ebirah from attacking them. The dancer quickly comes up with a plan to make a fake version of the yellow liquid using the leaves of the fruit instead of the actual fruit itself, and they get to work on that batch. Back at the cave, they discover that Godzilla still has a heartbeat, and they plan to wake him up using lightning, by putting the sword they got earlier at the top of the cave. Meanwhile, Ryota lands on Infant Island and finds out that the mysterious man was his brother, Yatta. After reuniting, they row back to the island, taking some barrels of yellow liquid with them to stop Ebirah. When they get there, a mysterious storm and lightning appear and Ebirah comes out. Before they can use the yellow liquid, the barrels are washed away from the ship, leaving them defenseless. The lightning from the storm that followed Ebirah strikes the sword, waking up Godzilla, who distracts Ebirah long enough for the brothers to get to safety. We all know by now what Godzilla immediately does upon seeing a threat, but this time it doesn't work, as being a regular beachgoer, Ebirah knows his way around volleyball. So for first in the franchise, Godzilla fights him in the water, both floating near the surface and at the ocean floor. The two groups run into each other in the morning, but Godzilla once again shows up, setting up shop right between them. Thankfully, a weird bird thing appears and distracts them before the Red Bamboo sends jets to fight him. While they fight, quite possibly the worst scene for this situation plays. Genuinely, I have no idea who chose this as a dramatic action scene, but it couldn't possibly be worse. I know that this franchise is starting to steer itself towards a younger demographic, but this is ridiculous. After Godzilla inevitably destroys them all, the Red Mabu is hopeful that he won't follow the survivors to the facility and destroy it. However, Godzilla raids again. The leader of the Red Mabu realizes that there's no saving this facility, so he sets up a bomb to explode after delay, leaving no trace of the island remaining. They grab the fake yellow liquid from the prisoners and try to escape on their boat, but Ebirah destroys them after the fake yellow liquid doesn't work. Godzilla, having had enough of the facility, decides it's time for round 2 and fights Ebirah in the ocean. He eventually wins after tearing off both of his claws, which would make for a good item on the menu if they ever make a Godzilla-themed restaurant. Back on Infant Island, Mothra finally wakes up and helps the Infant Island prisoners to escape. Godzilla notices her and immediately tries to kill her despite her helping him only one movie ago. His efforts fall short as she gets everyone off the island, and even though he did try to stop her, everyone tries to get him to jump off the island. He unfortunately doesn't, just stands there dopily until it explodes, killing him instantly and disintegrating his remains, thus ending the Showa era. Okay, no, he does jump off a cliff before it goes boom, but he spends ages just faffing around. Also, does this count as falling down a cliff into the sea or not? I mean, he didn't fall and rather jumped, but it's basically the same thing, right? Oh, and just before the movie ends, we see him for the first time swimming with his dorsal plates breaking the surface like the fin of a shark. This would become a mainstay in the franchise, and it's really cool to see elements of future movies being almost foreshadowed in these older ones. Now, if you saw my last review, you'd know that I prefer these movies to have sci-fi elements over tribal ones, and this movie once again heavily involves an island with tribes. But hey, at least I have 3 nickels now. I thought that this was just going to be a once-and-done element of King Kong vs. Godzilla, but it looks as though it's here to stay. I do really hope that the rest of the show movies don't feature any more of this, as it can easily lead to racist stereotypes and outdated outfits. Let's just check the poster of our next movie, and dang it, that's another 5 cents. The soundtracks are getting better and better, going from bare bones to nearly full ones, but some themes could be played at better times. Naming no names. Oh, and Ebirah had his own theme, which I really liked, along with his general sound design. I love his design, from his seaweed on his chest, to one of his claws being larger than his other, and the texturing on the costume is outstanding. It looks just like Crabshell. It was also really satisfying how the two plots came together, with the storm that follows Ebirah being used to wake up Godzilla. The water effects are done really well. I can't imagine how they got Godzilla to even move in that water considering how heavy the suit is, let alone have a pretty decent fight in it. I feel that Ebirah was at his best when he was mainly obscured underwater, with the scale really coming off nicely and the rain and choppy water adding to his menace. But once he fully appeared in the daytime, it wasn't nearly as cool. Also, for a Godzilla movie, this one barely contains any Godzilla. I did mention it in my last video how that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in this he's more of a plot device than an actual focus. He sort of just shows up, fixes a problem, and then leaves until he has to fix another one. Not only that, but he doesn't even destroy any cities. He only really destroys the facility, and even then he doesn't do that for that long. I think that there was a considerable drop-off in the budget compared to the last movie, and unfortunately, it's pretty obvious in retrospect. It's not a bad movie, or even the worst of the franchise, but it's not all that amazing either. Okay, I really didn't want to end this off with a tangent about the bad aspects of the movie. I did enjoy it quite a bit more than some other ones, but here's one last thing. Godzilla's design in this is a lot worse. Not by much, but there are certain changes they made that I didn't especially like. For example, the eyebrows and lips are way bigger, the little T on his chest is a lot longer and juts out more, and he just looks a little off. I will admit though, this is the first movie since Godzilla where it actually looks like he's burned. I mean, it was incorporated into his design in other movies, but it's really apparent here. So all in all, Ebirah, War of the Deep is not an amazing movie, but it's not that bad either. It's more so just there, and you aren't missing out on anything if you skip this one. It's not painful to watch or especially slow, quite engaging and enjoyable actually, but in retrospect, it's a bit mediocre. Might have been a little harsher on this one compared to other movies, but it's not a crime against humanity or anything. Speaking of crimes against humanity, next time we'll be talking about Son of Godzilla. In my past year and a half of being in this fandom, I've heard horror stories about the star of this movie, Baby Godzilla, or Minilla. Wish me luck. But anyways, that's it for this video. Please stick around for a bit because there's something big that's changing when it comes to the quality of this channel. So long-time viewers of the channel might recall a time where I had to stop using my microphone because I put a cover on it and that caused my audio to get extremely fuzzy and glitchy. This was around the time I was making Star Wars content, and here's an excerpt from a short I made that made me stop using my microphone. The origin of the Jedi Vader suit is from an alternate universe Star Wars comic called Star Wars Infinities, in which he survived the second Death Star and helped Luke and Leia search for the Emperor. Yeah, I'll save your ears any more suffering. I stopped using my mic until after I reviewed the first Godzilla movie, hence why the audio of that one sounds different. But in the last video I made, the fuzziness returned, and I did some testing, and guess what? It wasn't my mic, it was my phone. I was holding it way too close to the mic, and that was causing interference. This even lines up since I used to make my scripts on Google Docs before switching to writing them on my phone, as I could add a little bit whenever I had free time. So what I'm doing now is I'm still writing the scripts on my phone, but I'm sending them to my computer and reading them that way so there's no chance of interference. Thanks for sticking around, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all later.